Shabbat Shalom. Want a little peaceful time in my backyard, so came out just to think. Yeah. I know my thoughts be sometimes scattered because I have so many. One thing I've been thinking about kind of was that I got confidence in myself, but you're supposed to let another man praise you. And so trying to be humble is something that I feel like I got a grasp on, but in it sometimes trying to pull back, there stumbles, when you're just like, okay, when, you're looking at double dutch. You're like, okay, when should I jump in? When should I jump in? And when you don't get the opportunity to jump in, after time, you kind of feel like you're losing confidence. It's like, you can do it, but it's like, when should I jump in? So a lot of times I just jump in. And it may not be always the opportune time. I speak what I believe Yah has given me to speak. And it is very abrasive to many. I don't really, I guess, desire a time for me where, I get the spotlight, because I really don't need the spotlight, but when I'm speaking, I want to be heard. I don't want to be looked over, when I am speaking, it's like, so it's a teeter-totter. It's almost a balancing. It's a scale where it's like, okay, I am speaking, so I want to be heard. I could silence it and shut up. But people say, oh, you have the floor, you have the opportunity to speak. But then it's like, are you really listening? If I'm speaking and you're not listening, I'm wasting my time. That's how I feel. But, Yah has to show me over and over that sometimes you're dropping seeds, and though a person may not be paying attention or seem like they're not paying attention, sometimes things there are dropped that may take root later on, and it may not even be by your watering. You got to get out of the way. And so it's like this humility thing. It's like, it's not really something that you do yourself. You think that you're humbling yourself, but situations humble you. Yah uses situations to humble you. It's not really you doing it yourself. You may feel like, I pull back. But is it that time that you should pull back? And you should allow Yah to be the one that guides and directs. And your obedience to him should be what's moving you to even go forward in the first place. Think about it. So many voices. How do you hear clearly? Is it him speaking or not? His sheep should know his voice. And so often we do know his voice, but then you have others that voice that break your confidence down in that. Because, oh, that's not it. That's not it. It's like we got to push out the noise. Got to separate yourself sometimes and get alone. Right now I'm alone in my backyard. And if Yah was to speak to me right now, I would be able to hear, because there's no other voice. It's nature speaking. But in life, you're going to always be surrounded by situations where things are speaking. You have the television speaking. You have the government speaking. You have ministries speaking. You have assemblies, all these different things speaking. And are they speaking to you? Are they hitting the purpose of your life? Are they giving you the encouragement to endure your race? I say that some of them are. But sometimes you have to kind of cherry pick, and it's sad. You shouldn't cherry pick the scripture, but sometimes you have to cherry pick the ministry that's going forth, because it's so much. And a lot of it, if people be honest, people are facilitating things that matter to them most. If a person is more into evangelism, they're going to minister to that most. If they're more into worship, they're going to minister to that most. If they're into equality, they're going to minister that most. If they're into music, they're going to minister that most. You know, you have all these different arrangements and I guess these events going forth a lot of times, and you know, you don't see certain people there. You know, that's not their cup of tea. Nothing wrong with that, but you know, it's just always different avenues and different opportunities and different vantage points going on. And it's not to say that any of them are wrong, but which one is right for you? Which way is Yah leading you? Are you able to hear from those that you're supposed to hear from? Are you even in the right place to hear from those? Many times when I have something to say, it can be viewed as harsh and coarse, but pull away from that. Pull away for it and really take what the words I'm saying and really look into them. Look into them deep. Are they really coming from a harsh heart, or are they cutting you? Is it something that's bothering you because it has an inkling of truth towards your life? You know, right now we're going through this COVID situation, and there are many of us who have stepped away and said no to the vaccine. And we believe clearly that we're hearing Yah saying, no, that's not me. That's not me. And they're pressuring. And you got to wonder, why is it that people can't see that there's something wrong? If they have to pressure you, if they have to manipulate, if they have to advertise something that's supposed to be so helpful, what's going on? They'll label it and say that, you know, that the melanin or black people have distrust. That's true. They've given us much reason to distrust. But if they got to bribe you, they got to do lottery, they got to do all these different things to get you, got to question it. So a lot of the stuff that's going to be said by me out of that, you know, for that, it's going to be harsh. When it comes to a lot of the ministry things, you're going to see people speak on things that don't even, you know, reflect on what you're thinking about. I see things talking about modesty. I've been talking about modesty for a while, but right now I'm not focused on it, but I do think it is very important. Also, holiness. That's something that I think is very important, but in living holy, sometimes you're going to have to separate yourself from people. And that's one thing that people have a problem with. They think that this walk is supposed to be all about unity. And it is supposed to be unity of those that have the same Ruach. But people that don't have the same Ruach, you're not supposed to be trying to force compatibility out of that situation. Someone that's eating defiled meat. Okay, I can't just get comfortable in the presence of somebody that's up there just smashing something with pork in it. I can't do it. The smell is just defiled. It just ugh. And so, you know, you might have an occasion where you may sit through that torture or whatever, but that should not be your common everyday task or mode. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be getting away from that, you know, because, you know, if they're not looking to change and not seeing that that's bothering you, are they really concerned with what Yah is concerned with? And does that really, you know, look like something that's going to change in them? You know, you can put the seed out there, but after a while, you got to get gone. Hey, Nicole, you got to get gone. You know, I'm like, shoot, I've been around people that smoke. I don't like smoking. So, you know, after a while, I'm like, hey, they ain't putting it away because they see me. I got to get gone. You know, and it's like, okay, that's not me trying to make it as I'm better than them, but that's something that I don't want in my spirit, my ruach. Shalom. I gotta get away from that. And so, you'll see things that could compromise your walk. I'm like, I got family members that live the homosexual lifestyle that I love, but that thing is defiled. And so when that spirit is out there, I'm like, after a while, I'm like, I speak and I try to leave my spirit on the place. But if theirs is overwhelming, I gotta go. I flee. I get up out of there. Not because I'm afraid, but I'm like, I don't want to be, I don't want to share the testimony with that at all. I don't want to make it seem that I approve of that at all. I can love that person, but I don't approve of that lifestyle. I got to go. Seeing shacking, even an adulterous situation, I'm like, I speak, and I'm like, I let it be known. I'm not comfortable with this, and I got to go. I don't understand why is it that people take it like they have to, I guess, compromise their walk with Yah. They call us judges. So what? We are created to be judges. And so I'm not putting a judgment on anybody. I'm not telling nobody they're going to hell. But if they keep walking that way, what's going to be the end result? I'm like, you got to endure to the end. And if you choose not to endure to the end, that's on you. But in the process of it, I'm going to speak my truth. And my truth is lining up with Scripture. That's wrong. And I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not trying to do anything negative towards you. I'm not doing anything towards you. I still love you, but I got to get gone. I want you to change. Change. I put my seed out there. That's right. Don't cast your pearls to swine. If you're not hearing what I'm saying, I got to go. I can't stay around that. So I get it after years of not being invited to the family functions, not being invited to even friends functions. I started to get it. I used to be bothered by those things, but it's like, I don't fit. Now I invite people to come into my functions, but they can't bring what they would bring normally to functions. I have a friend that everywhere he goes, he drinks. And so it's like, I know not to bring him. I can't do it. I know not to invite him. Now I invite him, and as soon as I see he's sneaking out to the car to get a drink or whatever, I'm like, hey, I guess it's time for you to go, bro, because that's not welcome here. Well, I'm out of my car. I ain't doing it in your... No, bro. You bringing that spirit in here, and you putting that in your body, and that attitude, that demeanor. You don't have respect for my home. I love you, but you got to go. We have carpet, and I don't be the one cleaning it. My wife, does the cleaning of it, so she asked that the shoes be taken off. That's, so you have governance and rules when you doing things. When you have events, when you have things going on, you have governance and rules. Hey, Charles. Hey, Monique. Hey, Marquita. You have governance and rules, and people should be able to, respect that. And if they can't, it's not that you want to, segregate and keep them away, but it's like, you got to go. You got to go. We'll meet up at another time. I love, many times I've spent time, taking out people to eat, that, and I'm not bragging on that, I don't label as having the same spiritual background as me. But that's to converse with them, to see where they're at, and seeing if, they could heed and hear what I have to say. Most of the time, no, they can't. But I at least have to give forth the opportunity and give forth the effort to try. But sometimes it's not set up for that. When you have things that you can't focus solely on that person that needs that focus, you can't invite them, because otherwise they're going to do them. And them doing them is going to be a distraction to others. Yes, we have family members, we have loved ones that live their lives how they live it, and we're not their judgment persons, but we supposed to judge. Hey, I'm going to give you a warning. That lifestyle is leading to something that you don't want. But I don't have to hate them. But I cannot compromise. I'm trying to get with people that compliment what I'm doing. And so, I see a lot of ministry. I get invited on a lot of posts. I get tagged on a lot of posts, and I try to watch some of it, but some of it is like I can't endure every situation. So I have to pick and choose because everything is not for you. And so when I do these videos right here, I don't get upset that people don't tune in and whatever. If it's for them, it's for them. Yah will lead people to what he has for them. You don't have to do advertising. You don't have to do marketing if it's truly Yah, I believe. I get it. We've been, taught by this world that marketing matters. Because I run a business, so I know I have to do marketing. But when if it's something that's just solely for Yah and getting his word out, if people are supposed to get it, they will. Just like, okay, going back to this vaccine thing. People don't like talking about it, but my take is this. Yah has seen the end from the beginning. He has my days numbered. He knows how many hairs are on my head, how many on my beard. I don't really have much on my head. That's to see that receding, But the fact that he knows the numbers of my days. So if COVID was to enter into my days, did that shorten my days? Does that basically say, oh, Yah, new plan? Is Yah's plan able to be changed by the circumstances of this world? I believe we have a say in what goes on in our life. If we decide to quit and not trust in him and obey him, it could be a shift. But as long as we're obeying and following his plan, I don't think there's nothing can pluck us out of his hands. Nothing. Why should we even, fret? Yes, we fret for our family, but for ourselves personally, nah. That something comes towards me, and I'm like, have at it. Yah has already said for me, but, the only thing I have fret is when things come from my family, because I don't know their story like I know my own. I know what Yah has told me. I'm not privy to everything he's told my wife, not privy to everything he's told my children, or, things that he said to them that they did not heed or did not hear. I'm not privy to all those things. So I do have concern of those things. But when it comes to the things he said to me, I should be very much confident. He told me to be a watchman. He told me to be a mouthpiece to speak. Many don't recognize me as a moray. I don't care. I really don't. Because I'm going to keep teaching. Many don't recognize me as someone, valid to listen to as a leader. So be it. That's their choice. I'm not for them. But for those that are supposed to hear my voice, if Yah is spoken through me, if I'm his conduit, if he speaks and you're able to hear and obey him, not me. That one of my biggest things is, don't accept anything I say at face value. Take it and research it yourself. So I put up a lot of posts, and a lot of them sometimes are contraries, or they're weird, or things that like, wow, really? And people want to even call them conspiracy. But it's amazing when those things come to be true. They never come back to apologize for the insults that they gave me. But, that is what it is. But one of the serious things, though, if you go and study and research what people put out there, you don't have to, use their understanding or comprehension of it. You can have your own. You can move forward with it. You can now teach it yourself because you truly do know. You didn't just hear it. You didn't just say, oh, well, I heard Shanquilla say, no. I looked it up. I seen it myself. Me rambling. Okay, when I said, okay, the Latin, geo. Geo, most people know geo means the globe or earth, even though we're not on a globe, we're on a flat earth. Then you go sus. In Latin, it's pig. Put the two together, Jesus. It's a problem. That offends so many people when you point it out. But it's there. It's there. Just like Yahusha deals with salvation. Hey, Cynthia. Yahusha deals with salvation. It's always has. It was Joshua when we learned it in English. It's like, man, so if Joshua, how did that change to Jesus? How did that switch up? Yahusha, Yahusha sounds alike. One of the things that's very interesting with this English language, is that it's able to mimic other language in its pronunciation, but of course the spelling is not going to be the same because you don't have the same lettering. So why would they change the pronunciation of that name? We got to question that. But I'll ramble a little bit. Let me get back to what I was talking about. Okay. Sometimes the message that you're supposed to learn from is not going to come from the source that you're seeking out. Balak and Balaam, the donkey got to speak. Many people have heard from women. Y'all know I speak against women leadership, but I have never spoken against women teaching. My mother taught me so much, and I'm honored to have that teaching. You have to have the teaching in the home, and sometimes the first teacher is the woman. My wife is an excellent teacher. She's taught me things, but that does not take away my headship. You have to still apply to order. Apply to order. We cannot get away from order. Though, look at this fly. He just want to irritate. In the home, husband is still the head. So many people take it for a negative and think that, okay, a man being the head means that he's saying that he's better. My wife is more educated. I say she has the greater level of wisdom at times, even though she will tell you I have the greater level of wisdom. But I've seen her application in how she's patient. She's a true Proverbs 31, so I have much reverence for my wife. And some people even have a problem with that. They say, you worship your wife. And I'm like, no, I don't. I really don't. I see the gift that Yah has given me. Seeing that I have such a beautiful wife and she's a real Proverbs 31, that in itself I see as testimony. Many people say that you don't have Yah. They say that towards me. And I'm like, there's no way in the world that Yah would give me a daughter of Zion like this if I was not his blessed. It's no way. There's no way that he would connect me with a woman that is so beautiful in spirit and in flesh. Me, who I know I've done so much not deserving. There's no way that I should have that if I'm not blessed. If I'm not his conduit, if I'm not chosen of him, he would not put his daughter with me. No way. You don't, like the lady said, earlier, pearls to swine. If I was swine, I would not have such a pearl. So I'm like, you really aren't observing the whole situation. You have an angst or an issue with me, and in that, you don't see the whole picture. If you see my wife, anyone who deals with my wife knows how much of a blessing, how kind-hearted, how loving she is. And the fact that I won her over, it has to speak volumes about me. See, I could have low self-esteem on things like that, but no, I don't. What's up? Hey, Maury, Rodney. Honor isn't worship. It's not. You should honor. It tells you again, like I said earlier, let another praise you. So I praise my wife because I love her, and she's the gift of Yah. And me lifting her up, it's not about me, trying to give her all esteem. I'm giving Yah esteem because I'm thankful for his gift. You're supposed to appreciate the gifts that he gives you. I'm not just in love with the gift, though. I'm in love with the giver. It makes me love him even more to see what I have. The children that I have, they're obedient, they're honorable. My children, they like me. If you deal with me and you know that I ask questions, my children will ask questions, but they know timing. When it's time of discipline, they don't do that. When it's time of correction, they don't do that. But they ask questions. My children are very intriguing, and they have boldness, and they speak things. They speak truths that make people uncomfortable. That's always been the case. But that's something they learned, and I'm like, okay, I'm all for it. I want them to have that. Shabbat shalom. I want them to have that. some people have a problem with it. You know, my children were the kindergarten children that told people there was no Santa. My daughters, my two youngest daughters, were the ones that decided to quit Girl Scouts themselves because they started allowing boys. We didn't choose that. You know, so they have wisdom in themselves, but we've given them the groundwork to do that. You have to give children the groundwork. You have to train them up in the way they should go. Many of us won't admit our lifestyles actually train them to be defiant. Yes, we're been defiant right before them. Do as I say and not as I do. And so they learn from that. You know, one of the biggest things that I had to learn is that since I walked so many years faithful to Christianity, and I had them following that, when I came away from that, showing the errors and stuff like that, I couldn't just show them the errors of it. I had to also repent to them. I had to turn back to the law, turn back to the instructions of the scriptures, and actually admit to them that this is what I needed to do, and apologize to them, because I led them astray. I trained them up in the way that they should go, and it was hard. It's hard for them to depart from it. You know, so you could train somebody bad. You know, hey, I was raised around weed smokers, so, you know, I said I would never do that, and I did it in a lifetime. Raised around cigarette smokers, drinkers, all these things that I said I would never do. And then when I reached adulthood, yeah. You can have someone telling you the right thing, but them doing the wrong thing, and you see them, if your reverence for them will have you changing and moving that way. Hey, Cousin Jackie, you can't allow your wrongs to stay, though. When you identify that you've lived a certain way and it was wrong, you have to correct it, and not just correct it in just shifting and changing how you do it. You have to openly admit that you were wrong. You know, that's the way that a real person that's walking in Yah should do. Not just change your ways, but admit it, vocalize it, speak it out. A lot of times we have this thing where we say, okay, well, I don't have a reason to say anything to that because I did that when I was younger. Well, you did it when you were younger. Now that you're an adult, you're walking in your maturity, you can put away those childish things. You can speak on those things with confidence, with boldness. That's your place to. You learned. If you don't learn anything, you can't teach anything. The fact that you've learned it, now it's saying, hey, apply it, teach it. Teach it. It may offend some people because they're going to remember your past, but are you that person anymore? No, you're not. Since you're not that person anymore, you have a right to walk in who the person you are now, and walk into it boldly and walk into it with confidence. Now, again, you know, humility is something that he applies. You know, we do try to humble ourselves and stuff, but sometimes we need to be the same energy person that we were in our sin days, in our saved days. If you were the energetic life of the party in all of these evil things, you know, when it comes to the holy things, you should be energetic the same way. You should be boisterous. Now, sometimes, you know, Yah will tell you, hey, you need to change it out. But, you know, you should be able to give to Yah what you gave to the world and more. Your past testimony is not a source of shame. Oh, no, it's not. Because you got victory. You went through it. That's one of the things that most people don't want to hear. You went through. So that means you went through. That means you're on the other side. So if anybody needs any type of guidance from that, they need someone as a guide. You're a perfect guide because you made it through. There are so many people that want to tell people about those things that they're stuck in. They haven't made it to the other side. You should deal with somebody that has victory in that area. Someone who's made it through. I made it through divorce. Many people seen that divorce was a failure and they didn't want to hear anything I had to say. But I got 18 years of successful marriage now. Now I'm not I'm not the standard, not at all. But I do have some things that can apply to help you. You know, for one of the things I learned, keep your family out your marriage business. You keep your family out your marriage business, and that right there is one of the major keys to winning. Because best believe your family, if they've been on your side, they're going to be on your side even when you're wrong. They probably going to lead you to some wrong and stuff. Forget that. Forget them. Do this. If I was you, I can't stand that. And, you know, when you are feeling in a bad mood, you agree with those things. You can enjoy those things. But when you're loving towards your spouse and they still having that same energy, you like, oh, I want to hear that. But they have right to speak on it because you gave them right. You gave them opening to speak negatively on your relationship. And keep people out of your marriage. Yes, it's good to have counseling and things of that nature. Yes, that's great. But you can't have counsel with people that's biased. That's not going to work. You know, I always try to offer counsel and try to see both sides and stuff like that. But not everybody wants your counsel. Not everybody wants your level of conviction. That's something that humbles you. It really does. You know, it humbles you. You know, because you offer and not everybody will accept. That doesn't mean you stop offering. That means you maybe offer to the wrong person. Keep it moving. Kim, keep it moving. You know, definitely, I tell you this. In learning in this walk, you're going to run into so many things that seem to say, stop, go back. We are not supposed to go back. There's nothing about going back that's good. Really, it's not. Yes, you may seem isolated, but, you know, isolated is good if Yah is for you. If Yah is for you, it don't matter if the world is against you. And even those that are really, you know, on your team, they may not know it at the time. You may not know it at the time. Keep walking. Eventually, all paths going towards the end will merge together. They don't always line up every moment. You know, this whole unity thing is a good thing, but sometimes you cannot force unity. You cannot have unity for the sake of, of unity. Some people want unity to the point that they will sacrifice things. They will not give forth the excellence that Yah accepts or expects, not just accepts, he expects. You should never lower your standards in Yah. Never. You know, if he tells you, hold your tongue, then you hold your tongue. But that ain't mean you lowered your standard. You still have that standard. His standard is his instructions, his laws. You know, you're going to see sin. You're going to see it. You're going to even have sin your own self. But you should see moments where you sin less. You know, in this earth, we're not sinless. No. But every day, if we walk according to his will and his instructions, we should sin less. There should be less sin showing up. Today is the Sabbath. Are you respecting and honoring it? You know, I get it. Some of us have to work. That's not a person that's being rebellious towards it. But some people say, man, whatever. I'm doing my shopping on my Saturday. I'm doing my cleaning. I'm doing all this stuff. They are not trying to set it apart. You know, and you got to, it's just like, okay, all right, I'm out. I can't be around, if I go to somebody's house to minister or whatever on the Sabbath, they cook and cleaning and stuff like that, I'm out. Not because I have a problem with them, but I'm like, I'm not going to be partaking in them doing that. I don't, I'm not judging them. They ain't got it yet. They don't got it yet. They just don't got it. Some people ain't going to get it yet. Some people still doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but they don't get it yet. Keep sowing seed. Now, like it said earlier, the casting pearls to swine, if they just, outwardly just straight up rebellion and rejecting, move to the next person. Keep it moving. You can't keep throwing stuff at persons that basically, will use those things to outwardly defy you. I got some family and some friends that when they know something bother me, they put it in my face even more. It's like, okay, that's the way you love me. I don't want none of that. I don't want that love. But today is the Sabbath. I got two in the clip. I'm trying to decide which one gonna come. Later on, me and Nariah most likely gonna bring forth a Sabbath message, but I got spend some time with my friends at Great Awakening Flint, and I've been asked to bring forth something. I don't know if they want a small little taste or not, but best believe I'm gonna obey. So I'm gonna get myself back in this house and spend some time with my wife before I get ready, and also spend some time in the Word. But I just want to say blessings and shalom, and I'm outside and had to enjoy some of this sunlight, get me some vitamin D. I thank Yah for it. What a beautiful day already. My neighbor already cutting his grass and everything. My grass may need it today in the backyard anyway, but it ain't getting touched. It's the Sabbath. All right, blessings and shalom. Everybody here, thank you for joining in. Shabbat shalom. Ma mishpacha.